Hi everyone, so it's been 100 days since I've turned vegan and such an amazing experience it has been, and I'm super proud of myself to having stuck to this like overnight. I'm not kidding, overnight. So if you didn't know this already, I had done a challenge of trying out to be a vegan for 30 days, and after that challenge I did actually think that I would probably take up a few steps into my lifestyle, but I would otherwise continue with my regular vegetarian lifestyle. So that's what I assumed, but honestly it's been more than 3 months now, and let me just be super honest with you, I did not expect to turn vegan this year at all, because I remember seeing videos and posts on this last year around October, November, December, and wondering whether I had to become a vegan, whether it was the right thing to do, whether it was extreme. I definitely did not see this happening this year. I did think that I would maybe turn into a vegan in the coming few years, but definitely not 2020. But this challenge sort of made me stick to it, and I saw quite a lot of positivity to it. So I hope that you stick through this video to know what are the positives that I found in this lifestyle and the changes that I have felt through this lifestyle, and some hard parts of it which I have had to face several times during this journey. So now let's just jump into this video and start with the positives. So firstly, I have made at least 5 types of different plant-based milk at home here, and I have sort of figured out the ones which are my favorite: coconut milk and soya milk. Though I do try almond milk now and then, it's not frequent because it's super expensive. In other lifestyles you usually have 1, 2 or maybe 3 types of milk: cow, buffalo or goat mostly. But in veganism you can basically make so many kinds of milk: oat milk, rice milk, soya milk, coconut milk and almond milk. But there is always cashew milk, walnut milk, pista milk, all the dry fruits you can think of, you can make milk out of it. It is such a huge variant of options that you have, and with all these milks you can also make the milk products like curd, butter, cheese, and everything. It is possible, and that is why I think that veganism is really extensive, unlike what we think. I started incorporating more of green veggies and even a lot of fruits into my lifestyle since I turned vegan. I don't think my mom ever would have thought that I would actually like palak or spinach in my dishes. I actually love having spinach. It has definitely changed the way I look at food, and I've definitely started enjoying this kind of food a lot more now. I'm not saying I'm completely open to everything. There are still vegetables and fruits I'm not a fan of, and I may not eat given a choice, but I'm more willing to try out new stuff now, way more than ever before. I've been cooking and baking at home much more than ever before, because most of the bakery items that you usually get either have eggs or butter or ghee or cream or some kind of dairy products in it, and unless it is specified as vegan, we're not really sure whether it is, and mostly it's not. I do admit that I do have cheat days when I do indulge in 1 or 2 bakery items, but it's rare, it is not all the time, and I usually do try to bake stuff at home in my vegan style. I have replaced a lot of things with coconut oil and eggs with flax eggs and so many things. There are so many alternatives to all our common dairy products, and it's just a way of just figuring out how to make certain things with the alternatives, and it comes out as good as the other ones too, and sometimes even better. I'll just say that it's been amazing baking stuff, cooking stuff, and being mindful about not using dairy products for those. It's been amazing. Okay, so the next thing would be probably something that is most shocking to most of you, but my monthly grocery costs has come down insanely, because I know most of you believe that vegan lifestyle is super expensive, and super privileged. But let me just correct you, that is not so. There are so many small things we can do which are so much cheaper than our regular lifestyle. When I was a vegetarian, I would drink a lot of milk just like Suraj, and now when I've stopped drinking that milk, the amount of packets of milk that we buy every day or every week has reduced so much. When you look at it, I'm actually spending way lesser than I did earlier. So let me just take coconut as an example. So one coconut costs anywhere between 25 to 30 rupees. From one coconut, I could easily get 3 to 4 cups of grated coconut, and from 1 cup of grated coconut, I can easily make 1 liter of coconut milk. For 4 liters of coconut milk, it would cost me 30 rupees basically. Do you see the math there? So now maybe you'll say, what about other milk products? So a normal Amul butter costs from 45 to 50 rupees in the market. This is a vegan butter that I bought recently, and this costs 60 rupees for 100 grams. This is purely vegan and this is just 10 rupees more. So when you think that veganism is insanely or double or triple the usual cost, that is so wrong. And this is another vegan mayonnaise that I got. The cost of 100 grams of say eggless mayonnaise was at around rupees 35. 500 grams of it becomes rupees 175, or in mass at least 150, and this costs only 190 rupees. I'm so happy that I am living in this era where there are these options coming up even in India. So just keep your mind a little more open and you will see these products and you will see that they taste just as good as your usual dairy products. Okay, this one is for the ladies. Usually during your menstruation, we all tend to have menstrual cramps, and usually I have much lesser stomach cramps than most people do. I have been lucky that way, but I do experience a few hours or more of stomach cramps on the onset of my periods. It happens and usually I need to go lie on the bed for a while just to make myself feel better. But let me tell you, since I've turned vegan, the amount of time that these cramps come has reduced. It's not completely gone or anything, but I now have like say stomach cramps for maybe like an hour and a half maybe, but sometimes lesser than that. And maybe because we have so much of fruits and veggies in our diet, that could be helping with the menstrual pain. And also I don't bloat up much at all during my periods now. It could be something else, but I would think that the change to my cramps at least have been happening since January. It's been really easy now, and even for women who have really bad cramps, I do think that the stomach cramps would reduce, and that I think would be a real win for us women. So I do think that veganism has something to do with this. So yeah, I think that's a win. I used to keep feeling like a hypocrite at times when I would call myself an animal lover while eating meat. So I know it's such a controversial topic. It is definitely something that I do feel guilt-free about right now, because I can honestly just look at any animal and not feel guilty about not caring about killing them and eating them. This is basically just how I feel. I feel super relieved about it. Milk is just food for your baby. Even we humans have it. We have our breast milk for our babies. The same way the cow's milk or the goat's milk is the milk for its baby. But we sort of choose to see it as food for us. And I've sort of felt so much better about stopping these now, because I know that I don't contribute to that anymore. And nowadays when I look at meat, I don't think that the taste of that meat is worth the pain that that animal goes through to give us that meat. It is obviously up to each person to pick what they want to eat, and I obviously have no way of choosing it for them, but it is just my way of saying that I feel way less guilty about it. Also, let me just say that I no longer feel tempted when I see meat. I mean, when I did turn vegetarian and when I used to go back home to Trivandrum and I saw people eating meat, I did get tempted quite a lot, especially seafood, especially things like prawns, and it was really hard for me back then. But since turning vegan, I somehow don't feel tempted whenever I see it. So I think it has something to do with that mindset of not thinking that any kind of good taste is worth the pain that the animals go through. So I can definitely eat my happy vegan food even around people who are eating hardcore meat, and I'm super proud of myself about it. It's not something that's easy, but something I have to accept. Okay, so I'll admit that going out to eat as a vegan has been quite difficult because the vegan options in India is really very less, and because of which the options you have when you go out to eat is also quite low, because most Indian curries may have curd or ghee or butter or some kind of dairy products in it, and so it's not easy for us to know which would not have dairy products in it specified as vegan. So there are a couple of cafes and restaurants in Bangalore where there are vegan options too, even though it is quite less, but there are options too. But when I go to Trivandrum, my hometown, there is almost zero options, and that's really hard because when I go home to meet my family and friends, going out is like a nightmare. When I've been desperate, I have had milk products, but very few times. In Bangalore there are options which I always choose whenever I'm going out, but when you're going out with friends, again it's difficult because they obviously don't want to go to vegan places, and when you're going to a generally popular place, the vegan options may not really exist, and then you have to be very careful and very specific about the vegetarian options you choose to make sure that they may not have any dairy products in it. So yes, it is difficult. I admit that. It's not easy. So the next thing is, when you are going to someone's house to visit them, that gets a little difficult because a lot of places serve us tea or coffee when a guest comes. It's really hard to say no to it or actually ask for just lemon tea or something. It's something I'm still getting used to, and there have been stances where I've had to drink tea because it just felt super awkward to just tell them that I don't drink tea. It has been hard, but I'm learning to say no to it in a more polite manner, so hopefully that will help me in the future. So the last disadvantage is that there are some nutritions that are absent in most vegan diets, like B12 and vitamin D and all, which are not very commonly found in vegan ingredients, but there are obviously options for that. Most people, even meat eaters, may not be getting enough of, say, vitamin D and everything, because nowadays our lifestyle is so that we don't go out into the sun too often. I think even for vegans or non-vegans, these are elements that we may need to take supplements for. But even though it is a disadvantage, but I don't think it's such a big deal, because we can definitely take these supplements and make do for all the requirements of our body easily itself. So these have been all my experience of being vegan in India. I do admit that it's not super easy, and I don't really want any of you to actually do the jumping into this lifestyle like I did. I know it's not for everybody, because this lifestyle is not easy for us Indians, because Indian delicacies, Indian food items have a lot of milk products in it, and for us to do without those milk products is really hard. Meat may be easier for a lot of us to give up. Some people may disagree, but I feel that more than meat, it's going to be harder for Indians at least to give up our milk and milk products. So if you want to continue on this vegan lifestyle for longer, I would recommend that you take one step at a time. Maybe let go of the easiest thing of the milk products, do it for like a month, then the next month start with the next thing. So this has just been my experience. Let me say it's not easy, especially when you don't have any close friends who is going through the same thing as you. I don't, so I cannot relate to anybody else or talk about this to anybody close, and that is why I love my Instagram and YouTube community here, because it makes me so happy to see others who are just like me going through the same things, and it just makes me feel like I'm not alone in this, and that just is a lot. So I really have to thank all of you for giving me the support, and I hope that this video has in some way given you more insights into this vegan lifestyle, especially in India, and I hope that you will see some of these are really great benefits for you if you do think of turning into a vegan eventually. Thank you again for watching this video. So I will see you again in the next video. So until then, bye bye.